just in case we say something important.
Are you relaxed, Dick?
Pretty much, yeah. I got another position that seems to be working out pretty good. That's the fetal position.
Did you get the necessary medication so your pain is now reduced?
I got some Percocet. I'm pretty much doing it with iBu right now, but I'm super dosing, and I can pretty much get through the day without way. I'm still trying to get in to see a specialist, and I can't even get an appointment to see this one guy. And so I figured, well, I'll try to get somebody else and see what's going on.
Did you talk to your doctor at all about prednisone?
Well, I got to get in to see a specialist first. And now I'm going in to see somebody tomorrow, but they're just, what do they call them? Physician's assistant.
Okay.
So I could probably ask them about it too. But I also want to get another referral to see, let's say, a neurosurgeon, somebody like that I can talk to and discuss what my options might be.
Well, the person that gave me my prescription is my GP, my family practice doctor.
Okay.
And I said, hey, I don't want to get hooked on cortisone or those things. And he said, no, this is quick. It's 6 days. And as I said, it came in a little package. The first one had 6 pills. They reached 20 milligrams of prednisone. The next day was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's
none.
an oral thing. Huh. It's not even a shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, oral.
Wow.
And so you take the first day you take them, you don't take them all at once. You take 2 in the morning, you graduate them through the day. And there's instructions to when you're supposed to take them.
Huh.
And so and in my case, I went from being in pain to gone.
Wow. And it's still that way.
It's in 6 days. Yes, it's still that way.
Hello, Hank.
Hey there.
Hi, Hank.
Hello.
So this is the best I got of Jupiter tonight was this one, and can't see much.
Back of you? That looks like Hubble.
Yeah.
That looks different.
Now, what did you shoot that with?
Just I was going through my 12-inch Dobsonian, and with a Olympus and a Barlow, 2-time Barlow, but the sky is so hazy. It just not allowing for a crisp view.
You got a 1 band there.
Send that to me and I'll send it back to you. Not looking much. Well, it's pretty fuzzy though.
Yeah, it's not worth playing with.
No, send it to me. I'll run it through Photoshop. I think you'll be surprised.
There was a couple of eclipsed moons of Jupiter, giving black spots on Jupiter tonight between 5 and 6 o'clock, or a little bit longer. Almost to 7. I went almost to 7 o'clock before the fog started getting thicker out there.
Wow.
So yeah, unfortunately, it was not the spot to be doing this.
It's actually been it was pretty good last night here because we had a frost on the lawn. So, and then when that happens, you see all the moisture falls out of the sky, and that's a real good night. So,
normally when it's a really crisp, clear night here, the humidity is like 92%.
Oh.
That doesn't seem to make sense. To have a high humidity and being really crisp.
If you can get
you get dew on everything because of the open sky. The temperature of the sky is like -4 degrees centigrade, and so the 4th power laws of radiated heat. It's the difference in the 4th powers of the various temperatures that you get that cold. Your optical setup is much colder than the air. It's because it's radiating heat to the sky. So the dew preferentially, settles on it.
Yeah, if you can get a frost dew, that's your best bet right there, because all the moisture's out of the sky. That's what you're looking for.
Well, I got a real unpleasant surprise. We went into Kings Canyon, a place called Montecito Lodge. It was wonderful, and like $130 a night for 2 people for all your meals and everything else. And we're out in the middle, and I brought my 8-inch scope. and I brought my 12 or 11. I'm not sure, but anyway, I brought one of my scopes, and the humidity was 18%, and it was below freezing. And I said, I'm not going to turn the heaters on. The front plate of my scope frosted over. It didn't do over; it frosted over.
Yeah, well,
at
then you
18%
need
humidity.
Heaters. You got to get heaters. But if you got,
I have heaters.
Oh, you do?
I have heaters.
Okay.
I just didn't turn them on because I'm not going to need it at 18% humidity.
Yeah, if you get a frost, you're going to need to have heaters. But boy, that's your best night right there is with frost.
Well, what I did is I had my battery, I had my sine wave inverter, and I had a hot air gun, and I cleaned the put hot air on the front plate, not a lot because I didn't want to break it, but I made it go away. And then I turned the heaters on. I have band heaters on. I have 5 different heaters.
Oh wow, yeah.
Well, I have a heater on my finder scope front, my finder scope eyepiece, my main eyepiece, the front of the main scope, and I can't recall what the 5th one is right now.
Hey, I just want to note that we have a new person showing up, Ed Kalasky, down at the bottom.
Oh wow!
How you doing, Ed?
Hello, Ed.
Hi, Ed.
Hi.
Long time no talk.
You bet. Very long time.
Well, there you are. You haven't changed a bit.
Oh, yes, I have. I'm losing my hair.
Well, you've also dyed it white.
Oh, yeah, right.
So Ed, what size scope? We saw a photo of you with your scope, and it was on the mount there.
14-inch.
Looked like a 16 CGX mount. Is that a 12-inch or 14?
14-inch Newtonian.
14.
With a 16-inch tube. It's a 4.5.
So why were we seeing your scope? Why did we see that?
I sent it to Bruce or something. I forget what the reason was. And I sent a couple of pictures. I think one of Jupiter and maybe one of M57. I'm not sure about the M57.
Yeah.
I remember Jupiter because I photo edited it, sent it back to you.
Hi, Tim.
Hi. How's everybody?
Incredible.
That's a good picture you had, Bruce, of the moon.
It made the front page of the Ed Hat.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what I was going to do.
And that was taken with a 500mm lens on my handheld Nikon D500.
So you just stacked a bunch of those, and how hazy was it where you were at?
It was pretty bad, but there were times when there were portholes that opened up in the sky.
Oh, okay.
Especially around when the maximum of the eclipse.
Oh, fantastic.
But the other picture that I sent that I actually attached to that same email, was I was talking to Tom about this, that there are 2 pictures there. There's one, the 105-degree field of view of that one from my deck. Oh. And you can see the moon up there.
Wow.
And then the little thing that's off over there on the upper right, that is the same moon at the same clouds, different exposure, and processed with Photoshop. And you can take hazy pictures, and with levels, Control L in Photoshop, you can make them pretty good. You can make them crisp, and you can make them contrasty.
Okay. So it's levels. It's levels. Okay.
Control L, yeah, levels.
Is that the one that does that you have like the diagonal line and you can move the curve up and down? Is that
no? That's
level?
Control M. That's called I forgot what that's called, but Control L. You've got a slider. You can bring the highlights in. You can bring the levels, the blacks up, and then you can change the gamma, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
That is nice.
For the
Bruce,
night.
Bruce, that was about 1:10 a.m., a little bit after the max.
Yeah, that was probably 4 or 5 minutes after the max.
but you got Tycho to show up there. Kind of
Oh,
bright
see, the other
area.
thing is, I got some pictures from my cousin's friend who was in North Carolina, and his is just blown out. And I said, I emailed him this picture. I said, this is shot at EV -3. You underexpose the picture so that you don't blow out the stuff over there on the left. You know
Yeah, because otherwise it would really be bright.
And then in Photoshop, you can bring up the background.
Uh-huh.
I can send you the original of this. You can't see all the stuff over there on the right. It's all black.
Huh.
But you can bring that out. You use the dodging tool, and I put make it very fuzzy so it doesn't have a sharp edge. And you go in and you just it doesn't happen all at once. You work on it a little bit. I set its gain, if you will, at like 5%. So
is that a star at 2 o'clock? There's like a little dot there on your thing. No, yeah, there.
I don't know what that is.
Huh.
That's a UFO.
UFO. Okay. Yeah. And then obviously it's a flying saucer then if it's a UFO.
Right.
Okay, I got it.
Well, I do have a picture which I forwarded it some other times. Tom probably has it, where we took the eclipse at Westmont on the 14th of October. I forgot how many years ago. I'll tell you exactly here. But anyway, I took a whole sequence of pictures and then put them together in a collage. And the last picture that I took, which was at the Maxima, there's a little blue dot down below on the lower left of the moon. And I didn't see it at the time, but when I got home and I processed the picture, there it is. And that was Uranus.
Oh, wow.
And Uranus is blue. Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Right
there it
there,
is,
the
right
one
there.
on the lower
Yeah,
right.
Uranus. Yeah. That is so cool.
And then there's another one that follows that is just that shot.
I'll be darned.
Don't know if I have that by itself. Oh, yeah.
Well, there you are.
Wow.
And that's Uranus down there, that little blue dot.
And there's
Whoa.
other stars there too. Wow, that's neat. I like that shot. That's really neat.
Very good.
Huh. I have something to share.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me see it here. Let me get that guy right there. What do you think that is?
A rock.
Well, that's a good guess. Let me see if I can get, yeah, there we go. Let me get another view of it.
Roof and frame.
An observatory, huh?
Yep, that's it.
Oh.
It finally came. And what happened was I got a call from the trucker, and it was about 20 till 4 p.m. yesterday. You know, they were supposed to let me know, and I was supposed to get a forklift and all this other stuff. Well, what we ended up doing is the guy had a bobtail, and he had a lift gate on the back of it, and it could extend out about 5 feet. Well, this is about 8 by 8. I'm going to say probably a little over 6 feet high. And so we had to extend this load over this, it would be wider than the lift gate. So I had my tractor. And so what I did is we got it out there. We kind of helped push it out with the tractor. I kind of pulled it out while the guys were behind it pulling this thing out. And we got it out far enough to where they could put in some shoring. So I lifted up with the tractor scoop. I had it up on the actual supports of the scoop, not the scoop itself. So I could, get the CG closer to the center of the gravity of the tractor so it would tip over. And I think it would look at it probably about 800 pounds. And so that lifted it up enough to where they could put some shoring underneath this. We had all kinds of stuff. I had this guy there, he had 10-foot lengths of stuff. I had to do this impromptu, call some people in the neighborhood to get this thing going. So we put together a kind of a triangle of wood if you will, underneath this with a couple of 10-foot links. And that gave us some shoring enough, plus another couple in the middle. We got it to the point where we had enough shoring underneath there, and then I just slowly put the scoop down enough to where it supported its own load, and then pulled the tractor out. And then see, with that shoring, with the 10-foot links, then we had at least the shoring was underneath the load, underneath the pallet. And then we got it down to the ground there, and then from there we just kind of skidded it off the lift gate and slid it over into this area right there. More or less, that's how we did it. But I'll tell you one thing right now: if we didn't have that tracker, I think it would have been real hard. You know, the thing looks relatively simple to construct. Most of what you see here is, you know, it's down inside the dome, and then you've got these little supports here. This is the supports to suspend it out a little further for the bottom, because the bottom is 10 feet 6 inches round, and then the observatory dome itself is 8 foot round. So, and I'm going to put a C14 in this guy here once I get done, and then piggyback an MP127IS on top of that. That's kind of going to be the standard setup right there.
So Dick, the brand of this was again Home Dome. Is that what it was?
It's no, that's Bob's is Home Dome.
Oh, Bob,
This
or next
one is they call it exploradome, and then I've also heard it called polydome. So, and it took me about 11 months to get this done. I ordered it way back in January the 22nd. Okay. So what I'm going to do, since I had to reorder, you know, the mount got canceled, and I'm going to get an AP 1100, but I'm on the list to buy. See, what they do there is they don't take your money until they're ready to produce, which is what a lot of them should do, instead of taking your money and then not producing. So once they'll give me a notification when they're ready to start a production run, which I think is probably going to be the beginning of next year. I'm going to say February. And so, and hopefully that'll won't take too long to build up one of those mounts. So that's one thing I got to show. The other thing that is more of a curiosity item here, and I can't quite figure it out myself. Maybe somebody can chime in and tell me what the heck. Am I just daydreaming here or what? Now, this is a shot I did with the 24 millimeter Recon at it's a f1.4 stop to f4. So this is centered up on Shetter, Cassiopeia, the chest star in Cassiopeia. So I'm trying to think. I think you go dink, doink, doink, doink. That's Cassiopeia. And here is the North Star. And here is M31. So we're lying north. This is north-south, the long axis, and the short axis is east-west. The curiosity that I have is one thing here. Notice that the Milky Way in this orientation is at about 90 degrees to where the North Star is. So correct me if I'm wrong. My first assumption is that the spin axis of our Earth is in this projection here, this east-west projection, lined up with the Milky Way. That's the first thing. The second thing is that notice that M31 is almost directly below the North Star, and M31 is our great attractor. All right. So the second thing I would say is the east-west spin axis of our planet is tied to our great attractor, our local great attractor, which is M31 right here. So the spin is tied into this thing. And what blows my mind is you think about the Earth going around the sun, you have a tilt to that axis, you see. So as it goes around, you know, you got your winters and your summers and so forth, and that's what causes them. And yet we're pointed to the same direction in space all the time. Okay. and we're and in this particular projection, we're lined up with the Milky Way. If you go to any other part of the sky, at least at my place, you know, I've been shooting at 27 degrees. The horizontal is basically going to line you up with the Milky Way. But right here, when you're looking at the North Star in this area here, you're not lined up north-south, but you are lined up east-west, and you're lined up also with M31. Is there something to this, or am I just like, you know, just daydreaming and I don't know what I'm talking about? Or what's going on here? I mean, is there some kind of we're drifting along and on one axis we're lined up with, let's say the spin axis is being determined by the plane of the Milky Way somehow and the gravitational forces there? That's my question.
I'd have to guess and say now, were you saying that? Are you saying that Andromeda was exactly south of the North Star at that point you took the picture?
It looks pretty close to south to me.
Well, I think that's going to happen every 24 hours. You'll probably have everything south, just directly south of the North Star. So
well, no, that's going to be that way all the time, no matter where you are, what season you are, right?
No, I think
it's the same. It has to be, because otherwise the North Star wouldn't. I mean, it's not quite there, but let's say.
Well, everything rotates about the North Star, so
that's right.
Andromeda will rotate about it as the night goes along.
But the orientation is going to stay the same. See?
Well, the Milky Way will turn also as it goes around the North Star. So it'll be at some point the Milky Way will look like it's north and south.
Stacked 47 frames or whatever there. See, so that can't be, because otherwise.
No,
it'll move around like this. It'll move around like this. But what I'm talking about is that orientation there, where you're looking at it north. My conclusion is that the spin axis east to west is lined with the Milky Way.
Right, but as the night goes on, the Milky Way will tilt. The axis, the whole thing will tilt because we're turning. It isn't turning. It's all fixed, but we're turning. So you're on a moving platform.
I know, but that orientation will stay the same.
Yes, right, but it won't be due south anymore. It just happens to be the time of day that you took that picture. It was due south.
Yeah, I guess it's the orientation of what we've got going there. Well,
you see these pictures of the night sky where they leave the camera open for a long, long time.
But if I take
the only thing that doesn't move is Polaris. Everything else is going around. So that's exactly what's going here. It's all going around.
There's something else here, though.
It will keep the same relative orientation to itself, but it will be moving.
No, but let's say that I take another portion of the Milky Way. Let's say, for example, I line up on Saturn, which would be the chest star in Cygnus, the swan. Okay, I'm going to have to orientate my camera 27 degrees to that Milky Way. So I no longer have a true north-south alignment.
Correct.
But when I'm orientated here, I have an exactly north-south, east-west alignment. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And so what I'm saying is that Milky Way is coming through this thing straight across. It's not coming in at an angle at that orientation there. So my conclusion is that as you orientate yourself in terms of that right there, what you're seeing is basically we're lined up with the Milky Way somehow, our spin axis.
Right, but Tom has got stellarium going here, and as if he speeds up the time, you'll see what you're talking about. Everything's going to rotate about the middle. The relative orientation will always be 90 degrees, but it won't be north-south.
But the relative orientation so therefore what you're saying is the relative orientation is always going to be the same. Then the relative orientation of the Milky Way is going to be at right angles to that north-south.
But it won't necessarily be horizontal.
Here's the Milky Way, this orange line going kind of north-south at the moment. That's the Milky Way.
But as you go around
the equator.
that orientation is never going to be at a 90-degree angle, that Milky Way plane, in any other location except for right there looking at the North Star like I was. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the North Star.
It'll never, ever be in any other place where the Milky Way is at 90 degrees.
You have to choose your time carefully.
Well, here's the Milky Way kind of going from east to west at the moment here, this line here. And you got the north-south meridian right here.
Uh-huh.
And you got Cassiopeia, you got Andromeda. And so things just kind of lined up just perfectly east to west for the Milky Way, but only at this one point in time. Otherwise, if we crank it on, you can see the Milky Way is sometimes north and south.
Well, yeah, but if you draw the line to that star, Shetter, you'll still get a 90-degree orientation on the Milky Way, correct?
Right, but it won't be north-south.
No, I'm saying, but what I'm saying is the orientation is at 90 degrees, and that's the only place that I know of where you can get that kind of orientation. So that tells me that what you've got here, you know, if you were to look at it from Andromeda's standpoint, you'd have a galaxy that would be like this, say. It wouldn't be like this or that. It'd be like that. That's what I'm saying. And because you're seeing it like that, where you see Andromeda directly below, almost due south, it kind of tells me.
I'm not so sure I understand what you're talking about, Dick, because you're viewing this in a two-dimensional way, right?
Well, yeah, because it's a picture. It's an image that I'm looking at.
Yeah, but you look, the sky is two-dimensional also.
Yeah, it is. It's a projection. It's a two-dimensional projection. And so basically what you're seeing is, okay, as far as what I've got in my picture, you're seeing it this way. In reality, this thing is, you know, it's rotating around. But what I'm saying is that orientation stays the same. And that tells me it seems that there's some kind of spin, axis of spin relationship with our Earth and what's going on with the Milky Way and this great attractor, M31, local great attractor. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know if I buy that.
I'd like somebody to figure it out. It's like we need Jerry on here, maybe.
It's too bad Chuck wasn't here because I think he would chime in on this pretty fast.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd like.
Because the plane of our orbit and the plane of the Milky Way. I don't know. I don't know what it's in other words, I think you're thinking that we're the center of the universe.
No, not that. What I'm thinking is that we have our spin is oriented because some of it, the orientation of our spin, let's say from an east-west standpoint, is oriented with the plane of our galaxy. That's one thing. And then also that the east-west orientation of our spin, if you were to take a projection of our spin, you'd find a relationship with Andromeda too as well. And I just wonder, is there some kind of a gravity, you know, what's the long-term effects of gravity? If you put something in a gravitational field over a long-term time, do the spin axes try to, you know, move around? Or let's say as we got thrown out from the spiral arms of our galaxy, did we orientate ourselves in a certain way so that the
well, see, the thing is, Dick, the stars aren't fixed. They're actually moving, but they're moving. It's such a large home up there that it appears like nothing's moving, but they are moving. Right. And over thousands of years, that's going to change. I think that's what you're talking about here. I mean, in other words, in the summertime, we see the Milky Way coming out of the spout of Sagittarius, and that's always where it is in the summertime. But I don't think it's always going to be that way.
No, it will move, and there's wobble and things like that. But let's say if we looked over a year's over a short enough period of time.
So in other words, you're postulating that there is some kind of relationship between the plane of the Milky Way and our orbit. And I don't know
our spin, not the orbit, but our spin.
Yeah, it's 23 degrees.
Well, to the solar system, to the sun, we're tilted.
Yeah, to the sun, and that's another thing that's kind of
plane.
interesting is we're tilted. See,
Oh.
but in one orientation, you can see that in north-south, it's not a lineup, because you got the plane of the Milky Way here and the North Star sitting up here. See, so you're not lined up there. If you were lined up, you wouldn't even be able to see the North Star. But east-west wise, we're pretty much lined up with that because the Milky Way is going perpendicular to where the North Star is. And
well, this picture here really shows it really well.
So, yeah, that's the north ecliptic pole, and then this north celestial pole. Yeah,
Right.
We got a tilt there. Yeah. See, that's another thing that's wild because we're pointed in the same direction all the time. Our spin axis, pretty much, and yet we're tilted to the sun.
Well, we tilt back and forth, and in 12,000 years, we'll be pointing over this direction.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about in a short enough run. So, and then, it's just, I don't know. I just kind of was tripping out about it because I just started thinking about it and I go,
I think what's needed here is a picture like this that we can set into motion.
Yeah.
And you can actually see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I'm having trouble. I'm really having trouble.
Well, I think that relationship's going to stay the same no matter what season you're in, no matter what time of the year. You might not be able to see it because it's in the daytime, but but it'll stay the same. It's got to, because otherwise, the North Star would be changing position and everything else, and it's not.
It does
it's
change
not quite
position.
north. Yeah, it's not quite north, but let's say for an approximate, we can say that the North Star is at the North Celestial Pole.
Yeah, right now, but in 12,000 years, Vega will be the North Star.
Well, yeah, and I'm not saying anything about that, but who knows? Then maybe the whole dang thing will shift. I don't know. That's another thing is that do they have any kind of extensive mapping for spins of stars and things like that, or is that something that's way beyond what we've got going right now?
There probably is, but there probably is.
Yeah. Anyway, just my my musing.
All right. Good musing, though. Good to think about that every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understood the question, but at the same sidereal time, you're going to have the same photograph that you just took,
Absolutely.
the North Star and M31 and north and south and the
Plane of the Milky Way.
Yeah, plane of the Milky Way is going to pass through east and west. I mean, that's every year. It's going to happen that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it depends on what time you're up to see that sidereal time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that relationship should stay the same no matter what time of you, when you are. You may not be able to see it, but
you may not get to see it.
Yeah,
but at that sidereal time, it's there.
Yeah, it's there and it's constant. Yeah, within a short enough period of time. Anyway.
Now, Dick. One other thing, just to kind of finalize it, we're talking about the orbital spin and not the.
No, we're talking about the axis spin, not the orbital spin. Yeah, not going around the sun, just the spin of the Earth, because that's what's going to set that celestial pole in the sky is the spin of the Earth. Okay. Not the orbit of the Earth around the sun. Yeah.
So we're not talking about the orbit, we're talking about our spin.
Our spin, our Earth spin, and nothing else. Yeah.
It took me years before I realized that 23.5 degrees that creates our seasons wasn't our Earth tilting in actual motion like a top.
Yeah.
It actually it actually just stays fixed.
It stays fixed. Yeah.
And then we travel around the sun, and that's why we're closer to the northern, northern hemisphere, and then in the summer, and then further away in the winter.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're thinking of here.
Well, I think that's one thing. That's orbit. But I'm talking about just spin, because it doesn't even matter where you are around that sun and what season you're in, the relationship is going to stay the same. So you got that fixed reference point, that fixed celestial pole in space. Okay.
I think what I'm struggling with here is that I think I know what you're talking about now, and what I'm going to assume this is I think that we'd have to see a bigger picture of this, because if you look at the Andromeda galaxy, I mean, if you're looking at the Milky Way and imagine it as a big couple of plates put together, and it's spinning around in a circle over millions of years, making one rotation. In some sense, the rotation of the Earth inside there is going to be in plane with that, with the galaxy, just simply because if it were spinning perpendicular to it, to the plane of the galaxy, would it still remain fixed?
Well, I think that it is actually, if you look at where we are right now in that one image that I brought up, I'll bring it up again so that we can kind of talk about it.
So I think that in a sense, what I'm saying there is kind of the better question is that, let's say that our spin, the Earth's rotation is 90 degrees to the plane of the galaxy. Will it remain that way?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, that in the short run, yeah, it will. No matter what time, what season you are in, where you are, like it was said before, it may not be just due south. I mean, this whole thing is going to rotate around depending on where you are and what season you're in.
Okay.
But what blows my mind is you've got all this stuff. If you go to anywhere else, if you try to shoot the Milky Way, I have to use a tilt platform, and tilt it. I generally use about 27 degrees where I'm at right here. If I were to shoot, let's say Cygnus and that part of the Milky Way, that's on a 27-degree tilt. This one here was not tilted. Okay, so this is true north-south orientation right here. And so the Milky Way isn't at an angle here. See? So if you were to look at the galaxy, our galaxy, let's say from Andromeda, you'd see something that was not tilted like that or that. It would just be like this. See? That face would be just like that. And so I'm wondering, does the spin of our Earth, is it influenced in some way by all this?
I see.
And what's weird about it is that, see, the plane here, it might support more gravity balancing, okay, than north-south, because it's the plane. And you've got more of a uniformity of gravitational pull going on here than you do north-south. You've got mixtures of clouds that are here. You have maybe local gravitational attractions that are shifting this celestial pole more to the north side.
Just in thinking of that, I would say that, look, expand it out a bit and include the solar system in that.
Okay.
And because we know that, what is it? Is it Uranus that has a different, or the orbit of Uranus is in a different direction?
Yeah, I think Pluto. Well, yeah, there's one.
And so that right there kind of negates what you're saying right away, because.
Well, no, I'm just saying the Earth. I'm not going to try to say that all planets are doing this stuff.
Yeah, but your question was, is it influenced by the plane of the Milky Way? And I would say no, because that would rule that. Then in that case, Uranus would also have the same spin.
Well, yeah, but you could just have something catastrophic happen. It just could be that, let's say, for example, like the main sequence of stars, you get 90% of the stars out there, they fall in the main sequence, but then there's that 10% that don't. And so let's say our sun is one that it's a main sequence star. So, you know, its spin is, let's say, what 90% of the stars are. Okay. And maybe we got shifted a little bit north-south just because of the fact that you don't have that same kind of regularity in gravitational pull north-south, because the galaxy is a little bit less structured in that direction. It's more structured in the east-west direction along the plane of the galaxy anyway. Not
You know, it's an interesting question. Like I say, because other planets kind of have orbits in different directions.
They blow it. You can always find it. Yeah.
And I suspect that their spin is not aligned with the Milky Way. Maybe ours is.
Right.
And that's maybe the better question. And so that would be interesting to figure out. But I suspect that it's not all that simple.
No, I'm sure it isn't. I just got to looking at it. That's what I found. So, that imaging there, I think that's about the third time I've imaged that area there. And that's the one that kind of got me fascinated with this whole deal with 24 millimeter things and looking at the big pictures, trying to find these relationships. And that one there was kind of trippy because I looked at it. I got the North Star, I've got Andromeda Galaxy, and M33 is on there too as well. So, it's just got a bunch of eye candy as well. So
And Ed, you're saying that a sidereal time, that's gonna be that way if the sidereal time is the same. The Andromeda won't appear there, directly below the North Star at another sidereal time. I think Ed was saying.
Oops. We have Mr. Wang joining us in a little bit. Can't remember what his question was before.
Was that the
What
focus
am I
one?
doing here?
We had
Remember, he had a student at UCSB, I believe.
Oh yeah, and I can't remember the question either. We'll have to revisit it.
Let's see if he gets in here. I don't know if he had video last time. Didn't have any video.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your name?
Just call me Jerry. That's easier.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody who work on in my apartment talked to me introduced me to your club.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I come here. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any question for us, Jerry?
Yeah,
Any special question?
I have a question, but let me pull up my video, but I don't know what my video is. Problem.
By the way, Ed, good seeing you again.
Oh, thank you, Tim.
We saw a picture of you last week.
Yeah, you don't come to our meetings anymore, Ed.
I've been very busy.
No, we're not having them.
Yeah.
I just got my camera working and I'm redoing the mount on my telescope. So
which mount do you have, Ed? I can't remember.
What do you call it? The AVX?
Oh, I thought you had a CGX.
Yes, I did. And I had an unfortunate accident with it. I plugged in an 8-prong pickup for the hand controller instead of a 6-prong, and it burned the circuit board.
Oh,
wow.
So I got the AVX. The AVX is so much easier to handle. It's 25 pounds lighter. It's 50 pounds instead of 75. All the wires are contained within the mount. There's nothing to hook up other than the power and the monitor. It's accurate. The only flaw it has, and this is very difficult to understand, the Chinese apparently don't have daylight savings time and standard time. So when I first got the mount and I plugged in, I had daylight savings time, I was off more than 15 degrees. And I tried to compensate and that didn't work. And I couldn't figure it out and I still haven't. But then
No, you just change your time zone to -7 when you were in daylight savings.
I'm sorry.
Just change the time zone. We're in
Right.
time zone -8. Just make it -7 when you're in daylight savings, and everything's
Right,
the same.
right. That, I agree, that should work, but it didn't.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
then I
really?
started switching, well, wait a minute. I switched back and forth from standard to daylight savings, and bingo, one day it just started working. Okay, now we switched back to standard time. I had the same problem, and I tried to compensate 1 hour difference, and it doesn't come out quite right for whatever reason.
It's like you're saying it was 15 minutes off, huh?
Yeah, 15 degrees off, but it's more.
Oh,
it's not
15 degrees. Okay.
Yeah, it's not 15 degrees though. It's more
Uh-huh.
like 20 degrees, and then it's off a little bit, not only just in declination, it's just off. I mean, in declination also.
Huh.
So then
That is
I
weird.
got the same problem, and I just started, okay, switching back and forth between the 2 time zones on my hand controller, and then bingo, all of a sudden it decided to work, and now it's working just fine.
Hmm.
That's
Wow.
good.
Thanks.
But how do you mount your 14-inch on that AVX? Can it handle it?
Yeah, they said it's good.
25
I don't know.
pounds.
Yeah, 85 pounds or something like that.
No,
No.
How much is it?
it's
Well,
only
my,
25-pound rating really
No,
for the AVX,
30
I think, right, Hank?
well, this is
30,
the
30
Pro.
pounds. 30
This is
pounds.
30
the
pounds?
AVX Pro.
Oh, AVX Pro, or is it
Yes.
CGX? Oh,
There is
no.
no AVX Pro. It must be a CGX Pro.
Oh, yeah, there's a CGX large L, CGX L. I have a CGX and I have an AVX, and Hank has an AVX.
Right.
But I'm curious at how it could handle your scope. It looks like you have a CGX on your, but you said it burned out, the CGX?
Yeah.
Or is the other way around? Did you have an AVX and that burned out and you went to the CGX?
No. That original picture was taken perhaps before I got the AVX.
Okay.
That was AVX before it burned out.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how they come up with these weight ratings on the mounts. I have 2 Skyview Pros, and then I have the Atlas Pro also, which I use with my 11-inch. And the Skyview Pro is only rated for, I forgot, 20 some odd, low 22 pounds, something like that. And before I got the Atlas Pro, I put my 29-pound 11-inch on it, C11, and handled it just fine, as long as I had everything balanced, so the motors didn't have to do a lot.
Well, I have the AVX. And I tried putting the C11 on the AVX, and it was just too much. You really need to like hyper tune maybe the AVX, and you might be able to handle a little bit more than where it comes standard from the factory. At least, I bought it, at least when it came out originally. I didn't know they had an AVX Pro.
No, it doesn't exist, as far as I know.
Not
Never
sure
heard
what
of
that is. It is Celestron, right, Ed?
Yes. I have over 65 pounds or something in my tube and I have it balanced with a 44-pound counterweight, which is quite extended. And it works just fine as long as I have it balanced. But sometimes, I'll go over there and I got it all balanced, and then I come out and I'm like taking the instrument apart now. Oh shoot, this thing was off balance in the deck quite a bit, and yet it still worked. I was amazed that it did work just fine.
Do they have encoders? Does your mount have encoders?
Did I not have?
Encoders.
In
In other words, can you move the mount and it knows that it got moved?
I don't know. I don't have real encoders, but there is a little view window where you can see that it's moved or not moved. Generally, you can hear and see if it's moving.
Well, the reason I ask is my Atlas Pro, which supposedly handles 44 pounds, every so often it gets, if it's not well balanced, one of the stepper motors it just doesn't have the torque. And it's going along, and all of a sudden it goes, wah! But they actually have encoders, and you can unlock the clutches on that, move them out wherever you want, and it knows where you moved it, and then you can tighten it back up. So when it loses lock, all I do is just shut it off, not shut it off, but stop what it's doing and start over again. And it just goes right back. It says, okay, everything's fine. I know I moved. I know how much I moved.
I haven't tried that. I just figure I have to start all over.
You can see here on the C11 with an AVX mount, they're saying the instrument load capacity is only 30 pounds for an AVX. So that was my understanding. I don't see the other amount called here's advanced VX, and there's the CGX, which I have, which is not working. I need to get it hyper tuned. And then there's a CGX-L for large, has a higher weight rating. Like the CGX might be 50 pounds and the CGX-L might be 80 pounds. The CGM CGM2 might be maybe 40 pounds, and this is 30 pounds. So that's the mounts that I know that Celestron has. So I'm not sure where you got the Pro from.
The Pro's been out for a couple of years, it's my understanding.
Yeah, very
I can pull
interesting.
it up on my other computer and check
Yeah,
it.
be interesting to see what you
check.
got there.
Please check. Yeah.
I'm suspicious that you might have the CGX-L.
Yeah.
No, I definitely do not.
Huh. Which is
That might be my old one. My old one was CGX. I don't know if it was the L or Pro or what, but it was like, I think 80 pounds.
yeah, that's by CGX is, you might have the L. But yeah, specifications.
Let me try to grab that.
Yeah, see if you can check that out.
Yeah. He did say 15 pounds, and that's about the way X head.
Well, Ed has a 14-inch and about 80 pounds of weight, I think. So he's got to have a heavier duty mount. There's specifications for the CGX. For the mount, 55 pounds for the CGX. And then if we go to the L, that's 55. So if we go there. Fine. Sorry, I lost folks there.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I thought
Something happened. I don't know if it happened to me. It must have happened to my system.
I see Tim. Yeah, Tim is still, but I don't see. Then there's Hank. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, I'm the only one that's moving.
I'm all back now. I don't know what happened. Yeah, maybe
Something I said.
Yeah, maybe Zoom did that to us.
It's a time warp.
Or Celestron's listening in or something. I'm not sure.
It's Celestron censoring. Hello.
So someone said hello.
I will finish this questions discussion.
Oh, Jerry, you're trying to give us a question.
Oh, CGX.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask a question, but I don't know if you are finished with your question. If you are finished, then I'll just wait.
Maybe it's.
Okay, we kind of got broken up here. We're trying to figure out the weights of these.
Yeah, it might be CGX L.
Yes.
There you go. That'd be a advanced over the CGX. If you had a CGX before, the L would be a better mount for the weight you have.
And bigger too, and heavier too. So you said it was a 15-pound mount?
50 or 55.
Oh.
I think
okay.
before.
50. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the CGXL I think is more like 80, 75 or 80. Yeah, which would be better for the 14-inch scope. Yeah.
So may I ask, are you going to have the CGX repaired, or because I think it's probably just the board that needs to be replaced?
Ed, Hank is asking you if you're going to have your CGX mount repaired.
There's supposed to be a place in Goleta where they fix printed circuit boards, but I haven't been able to find it. I know a guy who used to work there, but I don't know where there is.
Okay.
And he's no longer in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, this, by the way, is a very well-known error, because what happens a lot is that people plug in the autoguider in the wrong port, or the control in the. There are two ports that are identical, and a lot of people have had their AVX broken because they plugged the wrong one in the wrong place.
And they're identical.
And you get
Wow.
error 16 and 17, and it's a board that needs to be fixed. And yeah.
Well, Orion went up to you then because the two mounts, the two plugs are very different.
Yes. Yeah, I like that.
Right.
Especially when you're fumbling around in the dark and you're trying to do
The
it.
other thing that you like on my Atlas Pro EQ mount, they the power connector isn't a pin and sleeve connector; it's a regular
No.
plug-in.
Yeah.
Like a
And it's
microphone
screwed.
connector.
Yeah, it screws down.
Screw, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's nice. Except the only thing is, it's still got the banana plug on the other side. But you know, you could
No,
just do.
I cut that off and put my
Oh,
own
you
plug
cut
on
it off. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Good man.
So anyway, Jerry, you had your question. Might be in, now you can sneak it in here.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to open my video because but I'll tell my question. So I'm trying to go out and find a dark spot during this Thanksgiving break, and trying to get some photos or shot. But then so I got from your club there are several places like East Camino Cielo and West Camino Cielo, and some other places I don't remember. But I just want to ask, like, if you know about these places and like are they open during the break or not, and like that.
Oh, sure. Those places up in Camino Cielo are open. There's no fire danger right now, I don't think. And there's even darker spot over in Figueroa Mountain in the Los Padres Forest. We do have a reference on our webpage, I think. Let me show that just a minute here. If I go to the internet again and say share, and then if I go to our webpage, and we have dark sky sites on our, so this is SBAU.org, our main page. Click on dark sky sites and it shows you the gun club into the West Camino Cielo.
Yeah, we don't get to go there anymore.
It can't go inside, but you could probably mount somewhere on West Camino Cielo.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, it's always good to refer to the Santa Barbara clear sky chart, which is handy to kind of give you an idea how the skies might be. Very handy. Figueroa Mountain's usually better, but not necessarily. The scene is usually the most important, I think. Although I think there's if you look for galaxies, you can get away with worse scene, I think. I'm not clear on that, how scene works versus cloud cover and transparency. So this is a good reference, and it actually gives you directions where people set up on Figueroa. It's quite a ways to go there. Mount Pinos in Ventura, I think. Is Mount Pinos in Ventura County? I think that's
that
Ventura.
one I don't know.
It's a 3.5-hour drive. I know that.
And it's a long way. Kachuma Lake,
Yeah,
of course, we go there.
I'm just planning to go places like within like half-hour drive, so it's like
Lake Kachuma and up on east and west Camino. On East Camino Cielo, there's a high spot about a few miles in on East Camino, east of 154 highway that goes up there, and it's gets you above the fog generally. Not
You're
guaranteed.
talking about where the big rain catchment cement thing is?
Right. How many miles is that to get there from 154?
About 3, yeah.
About 3 miles. So that would be probably one of the best places. East Camino Cielo, 3 miles east of 154.
Actually, West Camino Cielo is better. You go down to Figueroa Mountain Road. I mean, not Figueroa, Refugio Road, and go up. And then you go 2.6 miles from the junction, where if you keep on Refugio, you go over the backside. Then you get on West Camino Cielo and you go up about 2.6 miles. And there's a big clear area there that we set up in, and you're further away from the lights of Goleta.
Wow. I didn't realize you guys went up there. That's you drove on
Oh,
West Camino.
yeah, west. You don't come in from the 154 side. That's a long, twisty, ugly road, but you go up Refugio Road.
You
Yeah,
go
it's
up
closed.
the 101 to get off at Refugio, and you go up to the
Right.
mountain, and then you
Yeah,
make a right turn on
Refugio-
West Camino Cielo, going
Exactly.
east.
Then you go 2.6 miles, and then there's a big open area on your right
That's
that
a
we
little.
set
That's
up
a
in.
and that's a narrow road too, so you got to be careful.
Yeah, it's closed.
for-
It's closed.
Oh, I've
Tom.
had almost head-ons with people that want to take their half out of the middle.
So Hank, you say it's
Oh.
closed right now?
Yes.
Oh, because of the fire that they had up there, and is that why it's closed?
Yes. Yes.
That makes sense.
What is closed now still? Camino
Refugio.
Cielo?
Refugio at West
Refugio
Camino?
Road.
Oh, okay. I haven't been there since the fire, so
You know,
That makes-
Jerry, we have a guy in our club that actually swears that Refugio Beach is a good place to go. If you can find
it is. The club sets up there.
yeah.
You get the down canyon wind, the warm wind, and it blows the humidity away.
I'm not sure. Do you mean the Refugio is in the West Camino Cielo?
No, it's on the beach. It's a campground on the beach.
On the beach. But how do I go there?
On
You
the
go
101,
north- Go ahead, Tom.
on the 101, you go west, north or west, down the west of Goleta, farther away from Santa Barbara, about 10 or 15 miles to Refugio, and that's a state beach park there. And but generally you can, I don't know what they do for letting people in. If you say you're with the astronomy club, you could say you could go in maybe if they recognize that. You might be able to go
Well,
to
it
the
used
day
to be when
camp.
it was all set up and we do it, you could say that, but we haven't been there because of COVID.
Because of the virus, yeah.
Refugio Beach. Beach. I'm not sure. Like, how to spell it? Because I'm trying to Google it on the Google Maps.
Here's Google Maps.
REFUGIO.
It's right down. If you go west of, here's Goleta, and if you go west out Highway 101, you get to Refugio State Beach.
Oh, okay, I see. Refugio.
So
then-
it's REFUGIO. Just
Yeah.
like
Okay.
Refugio.
Refugio. Okay, I see.
But the G is
But-
pronounced like an F.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced. It's a silent G, so it's Refugio.
But you're not sure if it's open or not.
No,
Refugio
Hank was
Beach
saying,
is open.
we're saying
Refugio-
up in the mountains, it's closed because there's a fire in this area. So Hank is saying that it's closed up here, right, Hank?
Yeah, let's just be clear to Jerry that there is a Refugio Road and there's a Refugio Beach. Okay, we were first
Thank
talking
you.
about Refugio Roads that goes up to West Camino Cielo. That is
Oh,
closed.
okay.
But
So
Refugio Beach is on the other
beach
side
is
of the
open.
freeway. It's totally open.
But
There you
but
go.
I need to show them that I'm like in the astronomy club. So
You can just tell them you belong to Santa Barbara Astronomical Unit. And what you want to do, if you can get in there, and before it closes, there's a day area on the beach, a big parking lot area that you go all the way into the west end over here. And it's a nice big parking lot, and you can set up generally, and people might come by and look at your telescope or something, or a camera, whatever you're using. But it's down this end of the beach.
So
But
this beach is better than the East Camino Cielo, I guess.
It can be. It not necessarily. It depends if the fog is coming in. So it everything's a guess, I guess.
Oh,
You were
okay.
saying, Jerry, you were saying that you wanted someplace that was within a half an hour, and Refugio is very, very close.
Okay.
It's easy to
That's
go
great.
It's
there.
actually
That's
12
great, yeah.
miles from my house.
And there may be you may have to pay an entry fee. I don't know,
Okay, sure.
because
Sure.
it's a
Thank you,
state
thank you.
campground. But
Yeah.
sometimes, because if you say that you're with the astronomy club, they may think that you're going to go in and show people the stars, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, come on through."
Sure. Thank you.
Well, they-
Yeah, I'll try come there like someday and try to have a look.
Well,
Yep.
and that's right. If that doesn't work, Bruce, that Vista Point is a little bit farther west of Refugio, right? And
Right.
you could probably get off the freeway, and there's a vista point overlooking the ocean where cars and trucks can get off, and there's a railroad bridge that you can see. And so it's a little bit farther down. And so that could be a place to set up, I suppose. I don't know where that is on here.
Yeah, you go to Butterfly Queen, what Mariposa Arena, turn off and go off, and you basically want to go back and turn around on the freeway because you can't get off on the Vista Point going north.
So you have to
get
get
turn
off.
around, you come off, you go south, and then you're gonna, it says
Oh, here it is, right here. A Royal
right.
Honda Vista.
Royal
Point.
Hondo, right? And if you zoom in on that,
we can zoom
you're
in.
going to come back, and you want to stop as close as you can to the beginning of the parking lot, because there's a bluff, big wood, bluff there that blocks the light from the highway. Right there. See where it's green?
So you're going southbound or eastbound, like I could like to call it, but southbound on the 101.
But right.
And you get off here, and then you stop right here.
Right there, just before the old bridge. That's where you want to park.
So that's definitely a free spot to go.
Okay, sure, thanks.
Yeah.
By the way, I just mentioned somebody in my apartment. He showed me to this club. So any of you know his name? And he's like, my apartment is like in the garden court in Goleta.
I'm not sure where Garden Court is.
He says he's like a 20-year member of your club.
Oh, what's his name?
I don't know, but he showed me he's like 20-year member and introduced me to your club. So yeah.
Oh well, that's good. Good connection.
Yeah. Sure. I think I'm trying to get some both some telescopes stuff and also the whatever the nightscaping with my camera for both. Yeah. I think that's all my question I have. Okay. Thank you.
Good. All right, sure, Jerry. Good
Okay,
questions.
Dick, I have a question about your 1100 mount. Are you there, Dick? So
I am.
yeah, so I'm just reading up on that thing. It says it has a 2000 tick quadratic encoder, and it can be accurate up to 1/20th of an arc second.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing. So they are not absolute encoders, but they're relative encoders or something. How does it work?
You can get either. You can get this if you go with the standard, like right there. That one there is without the encoders.
Oh,
I'm going to get the absolute encoders with the extended temp, because the regular ones only go down to freezing. So, and quite often it gets below freezing here. So if you go down to you see those guys right there, select, you can, there's actually radio buttons to the left, and you can select, and then it'll tell you what the price is.
okay, because I'm looking at the 1100 GTO, and this one is $20,000 on at OPT, and it talks about the
OPT is higher. Yeah, they're higher priced. You need to go right to these guys right here.
Come on.
You want to get one, and what you do is you get on the notify to buy list. I believe there's like a little if you go down a little further there, Tom, on that page, I believe there's doesn't that say notify me? You press that button, and it puts your email, you got your email address, you put that in, and then when they're ready to produce the mount, they'll send you an email, and then you can buy it, and you can buy it right from them. So you don't have to go through a reseller.
Right. Yeah. So those have the extension AE and AEL.
Yeah, the AEL is the extended.
All
That's
right.
the extended, and I think they go down to 0F. So that's way more than what anything, unless I was way up in the mountain somewhere, it was really super cold, that you're pretty much covered. The other thing that's really good about that mount is you can go well past the meridian. You don't have to do a meridian switch. The only thing that's going to limit you is does it run into the, the pier or whatever. So,
Sure.
and it has all the spring-loaded gearing and stuff that you were talking about. You've done on yours. That's all done. That's all.
Yeah.
They got 10-minute exposures. They showed 10-minute exposures, and it seemed like to me that they're using similar magnification, let's say to my 10-inch astrograph, which is about 29 times. Over a 10-minute period, there's just no star trail without any guiding at all.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay. So this is the absolute encoder option. So you're going to get a regular 1100 GTO, but you're going to buy the encoder separately. Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm going to buy the whole thing together with the AEL version.
Oh, okay.
Just
So
get
you're
the
buying
whole-
the high-end thing.
Yeah,
The
to
high-end
go the
one.
whole high-end deal, because otherwise you can buy the regular mount and then retrofit them later. Either way. So, but
Right.
I'm gonna, because I want them. I want absolute. I really, that's one of the main limitations with the mount that I got right now is I've got incrementals and I want absolutes.
So what is wrong with the incrementals? I mean, okay, so I see the absolute is important if you really care about turning the mount off and moving the encoders and still being good. But that's not that important, right? I mean, if you do plate solving and for astrophotography, isn't the relative
You're
position?
absolutely right. You
Yeah.
could go back, you could do that. My main thing is I'm getting this, I'm putting it in an observatory night after night. I'm going to be wanting to go back to the same place. You're not going to be able to do that with an incremental encoder. It won't go back to exactly the same place. You're going to get some precessional stuff going on. I've got my Atlas Pro and it does that.
Okay.
See, you got gear wobble and things like that. Now, this one here, maybe you're right. See, with all the stuff that they've done to it, with the incrementals in there, you might have a pretty good argument, Hank. I don't know. But on my experience with the mount that I got right now, it's not that good. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, if the power ever did go off, you'd have to go back and redo your star alignment. Maybe that's not a big consideration. See, so
For me, it would not be big. I mean, I'm very, comfortable with plate solving. So if relative encoders could be a lot cheaper, I would go with relative encoders because I'm not going to buy a $20,000 mount.
absolutely. Yeah, well, it's more like I think it's with the AEL version, it's $15,825. I think is
right
for that mount. If you go,
well,
you
the
can
encoders
actually
in the Atlas Pro look at a little optical pattern that's actually on the edge of the main the ring gear. So you don't care about the slop and well, first of all, there's only one gear, and that's the worm drive because the rest is belt drive. But the feedback is from the encoder, which is on the other side of all that. So it's looking absolutely where the mount is going.
Yeah, but I'm getting precession from night to night on RA, especially. Deck is not so bad, but RA, I get precession, and you got rock. See, so if you got that rock in there, then you're going to accumulate that error over time.
So the error that you're talking about is the error due to the wobble of the axis.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, but I'm going to say that RA, I can get up there and I can wobble that mount. I'm going to say that. It's moving. I can move it back and forth about a 1/16 of an inch with the wobble that it has on RA. So, I mean, it's noticeable. You can see it with your eye. So if you've got that much wobble in there, and then you start to put an incremental encoder in there, and you've got gear driven, you're gonna get accumulated error with time. So that's my main reason for going to the absolutes is that you won't get that accumulated error. You will be able to go back. See, I'm looking to go across lunar cycles. See, so if I want to go back to the same place across lunar cycles with that kind of precession going on, it ain't gonna fly. Not with incrementals.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's what you're thinking of doing, see, the thing is, Hank, why not do it that way? Because you can always upgrade it later on and get the absolutes. See? And so
Yeah. So for me, tracking would be the most important thing. So I think relative encoders would be fine.
yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, you know, the benefit of encoders also depends upon the quality of the mount, because the encoders are on the axis, but the axis
Absolutely.
itself is not particularly fixed. So it always has a little bit of
Absolutely.
play. So that is something that you cannot get out. You can get, you know, the encoders will be good to get rid of the gearbox wobble or whatever is in there, or the worm
Right.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
and
not
these
for
guys
the
are
actual
spring
wobble itself.
loaded too. These guys are spring loaded too, by the way. You know, like what you're doing with the spring loading. This is
Right.
built into this mount.
Yeah,
And
that's nice,
that's
but
why
that's
you that's
a
why you
separate
can
thing.
go well past the meridian, see, without having to worry about it.
Right, right.
You're not gonna rock.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
That's like the best in its weight class at 110 pounds. I'd say that's probably the best mount in the world that you could get.
Yeah.
What about Paramount?
I'm sorry.
What about the Paramount?
I don't know that much about those, and then there's Software Bisque too. They've got some
That's the one.
stuff.
That's
That's the one
is
you're talking
software.
about.
Yeah.
Now that's a little bit different because that's a fork mount, and I'm not sure is that that does field rotate. That's kind of more like a Dobsonian setup. So you got to have
No, the one I'm talking about is is equatorial, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking. I've seen
The
those.
red ones.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that one, but I would
Yep.
say that this one here, you know what's, I don't really need it, but some people would maybe think it's cool, is the fact that you can break the mount down in half. So the whole poundage wise, that thing weighs about 45 pounds, but if the each half of that mount weighs about 22 pounds, you know, something like that. So it's a lot more realistic in terms of if a guy wanted to set up a portable one, that would probably be the way to go. For me, you know, and the weight of a C14 is about 45 pounds. I have about, between it and the aiming station and the MP127IS, it's about, accumulates up to about 92, maybe 95 pounds. So I'm almost up at the top of the weight class of that mount.
Wow. Well, AP makes an awfully good mount.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of glad that this glitch happened, and I, you know, because I had the Skywatcher on order, and then they strung that, they lied to me and said that it was right around the corner, and then they said now they're saying June 2022, and so I said, that's it, you're done. I'm gonna go with an AP mount. I like the Ethernet port, the Ethernet control port. So, and I'm guessing the way that they're doing that is it's probably just the same as the wireless ASCOM interface, but it's just you got a fixed IP address, you know, so it's not like wireless in that respect.
I don't know enough about them, to be honest, but I do know that years ago with astrophysics, when you wanted to sign up for one of their scopes, it took years. And during that, this was back about 10 years ago. And during that time, Roland Christensen, he split the mounts and the telescopes kind of in half there. And he had a completely dedicated warehouse that was going to do just the mounts. And they started cranking them out a lot faster than they were the telescope. So I don't know how that is today, but you know, it was a lot easier to get those mounts than it was before that. You'd have to wait years.
What year was this? What years?
It was about I think it was about 10 years ago, to be honest, Bruce. It was quite a while back. And then all of a sudden,
I remember they were making scopes then, pretty much scopes, and the mount thing kind of came along as a side thing.
No, they had the mounts, but I think they were kind of all under one umbrella. And then what he did is he decided he was going to split that up, and he had a completely separate warehouse built that was going to be just dedicated to building the mounts. And he started cranking them out. You know, with the scopes were still just as slow. He took a long time making those.
Wow.
I was on the list for years. Poor Chuck McPartland, man, he was on the list for the 4-inch. And all of a sudden he just said, "Oh, we're not making them anymore." And he said, "Well, put my name on the 5-inch." And he said, "Oh no, you got to go back to the beginning of the list."
Oh,
It
get
was-
out.
No, it was chicken shit. And you know, and I got my name came up and I couldn't afford it. So I said, "Chuck, take mine."
Wow.
And he was stoked, man. He's using it today.
So
it's-
what has he got? A 5-inch? Is that,
Yeah.
what is that? A refractor or what is
yeah,
it?
5-inch
Oh,
refractor.
okay. Huh.
And it also breaks down in half, I think, as I recall. You could break it into half.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, he took it out one night when he first got it. I think we went up to Tom Whittemore's house and we had a refractor night. And, you know, he was looking through it. Oh, man, it was sweet. He was
Wow.
seeing some really cool stuff.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
a good scope.
And just
Wow.
to mention, Chuck does asteroid occultations where he submits those results to the, I can't remember what the IOAC or IOTA.
Yeah, IOTA.
And so, yeah, so he gets his name on some scientific papers every once in a while because he's got a positive or negative result of an occultation.
Oh,
But you
wow.
have to have a proper timing device to get exact times. And
GPS, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
GPS. Huh. Not
I
a
think he
single-
has the Mach 2. Did he get a Mach 2 mount? Or no, he has an older one. He had the older, the predecessor to the Mach 2 mount was the 400 or 600 mount. I can't remember, but he has that one. He and Pat used that one. But Tim Wittenberg had the one you're going after, Dick. He has that 1100
Yeah.
from years ago.
Wow.
And they turned around and sold it.
Huh. You know, the 1600 doesn't cost that much more. I think you can pick up a 1600 for under 20 grand. So that would be that's 220-pound payload right there.
I'm
I'm gonna
about
trade my car in.
19,000 short.
yeah.
Well,
All right. So where are we at? Anybody else have something to show and tell about?
Tom, I sent you an email regarding Dick's question. I don't know if it relates to it or not.
Earth versus the galaxy.
Yeah.
it sounds like a sci-fi movie.
Well, I just saw something.
Huh.
Yeah. So
You know, I saw one thing that showed the Milky Way, our galaxy, and then it showed the Earth and its spin, and it kind of agreed with me with what it was showing because it basically had it like it was lined up with the plane but tilted. See, and that explains why it's looking at the
Let
north
me read you what I have here. It says, "How is the Earth oriented in the Milky Way? Despite claims to the contrary, our solar system is not aligned with the plane of our galaxy. Earth is also tilted about 23 degrees from the axis of the solar system. As a result, the plane of the Milky Way is tilted about 60 degrees relative to the rotational axis of the Earth." So for what it's worth, that's something I found.
Yeah.
And, so our rotational axis is 60 degrees.
Yeah.
From the plane of the galaxy.
Mhm.
So if that remains fixed, then yeah, you're kind of right. But it's at a 60 degrees, and people debate that. So in other words, I think what you were looking at, you were thinking that it was, perpendicular to it.
Well, but the 60 degrees, you got to look at it. You got two axes here. You got your east-west, and you got your north-south. So that 60 degrees could be the orientation between the North Star and the plane. Because if you look at that picture, now that looks like it's probably not quite 60. It looks like it's more like maybe 30. But then you got the 90-degree thing. Are you 90 degrees, minus 60 versus, the other way around? So it's 30 versus 60.
I'll try to send you this.
It's like a hula hoop. It's like a hula hoop that is tilted at 60 degrees. So there are two places where it's horizontal, and you were looking in that one particular direction.
Yeah, but that's
So
what I'm
that's
talking about. Is if it's horizontal there, you see.
Right. So, but if you look at a later time, then it will be at 45 degrees, and if you look at later, then it's going to be flatter but much lower. So
But
it's,
that orientation with the plane of the Milky Way, and let's say the North Star up here, as you go, it's going to stay the same location. It's going to still stay at that right angle. I don't know. I keep going around and chasing my tail on this doggone thing.
Well, if
so-
we had Chuck here, he would fix it in about a minute.
Yeah, that's what we need.
you would see Andromeda relative to the pole star, at the horizontal section of the Milky Way, and it will be there. But you
Does that mean anything? I don't know. Maybe
it's always
just
going to be there,
coincidence.
but that doesn't mean that the thing is horizontal. You're looking at the top of the hula hoop that is tilted at 60 degrees.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm up at the top of it. I'm at the apex of it. I guess that's maybe
Right.
more.
Exactly.
Well, I gotta get busy with that mirror from hell again. And see if I can get that thing fixed up. And I'm definitely not going to be getting an AP mount. Jesus. I'm only about 19,500 short.
So
At least you're close.
I'm actually 19,570 short.
Hank,
So I
you
want to
had
try to improve my mount by going to 24 volt. Does anybody have a mount at 24 volt versus 12 volt?
No.
Because apparently stepper motors seem to ramp up faster if you go at 24 volt, and also the heat dissipation is like much less at 24 volts.
That's another thing is that you can that mount, that AP 1100, they have a power supply on there that's got a variable voltage on it. And I think that you can operate those mounts at a higher voltage. And
Okay.
a lot of guys do, like up to 15 volts or maybe even higher. You can actually operate it at that voltage and they work better.
I remember Art
Yeah.
Harrison, his Meade mounts, he runs those on 18 volts.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just curious, because I have this on-step system, and I know that the torque is just not enough, and I've been
There's
trying
the
to find
power
ways.
supply. Yeah.
And one way is to just add a timing belt, which I've done, so that gives you a factor 3 in torque and also a factor 3 in resolution. Although the slewing is a lot slower, but that's okay because I don't slew that much. But then the next thing would be to switch from 12 volt to 24 volt. So you could.
Would it
you could
depend
get-
on your electronic ratings? I mean, if there's some component
That's
that's
what I
not
was going to
rated for
say. It
the
all
high
depends
rate-
on what's the ratings, the voltage ratings, the absolute maximum ratings of the electronics that are in there. Also the current that they can handle.
Right. So
Because if you
24
double the
volt-
voltage, you're going to double the current.
No,
24
wouldn't
volt
you
is
chop
fine.
the current in half?
Well, no, the stepper motor's got a fixed resistance. Stepper motors are not all that efficient. So I don't know if the stepper motors are DC motors, but the motor doesn't change as you put more voltage on it. It has a particular resistance, so that it all depends on the control system and how much duty cycle modulates and whatnot. But it has the capacity for putting out twice the current if the control system commands that, and then you have to be assured that your electronics can actually handle twice the current.
And you burn out the motor.
Yes, they can. They can.
Yeah.
The WeMOS.
Yeah, you never really want to stress electronic in terms of current and voltage more than about 80% if you want long life, or
Hank,
more than
what'd you say?
50% if you really want long life.
Yeah.
Hank,
Well,
how do you go
so
about doing a 24
the stepper
volt?
motor. Okay, so
Put 2 batteries on it.
all right. So since I was asking the question, can I please talk a little bit before everybody chimes in? I can't get one word in between. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, so
Go ahead.
no, that happens all the time. I don't know why people talk that way, but anyway, it's So the thing with the stepper motor is they have stepper motor drivers, and the way you're supposed to tune it is you set the reference voltage in these stepper motor drivers, and so the stepper motor drivers can operate either on 12 volt or on 24 volt. So I can run it on 24 volt safely, and the WeMOS can also run it on 24 volt safely. That's the Arduino that controls it. Although I could run it on 12 volt if I wanted to. So it is safe. About the current that goes through it, I'm not quite sure exactly because, like I said, there is a rule, a computational rule for the stepper motor driver. So there's a little screw on the stepper drive that you have to turn, and then you have to put a probe on it and make sure that the voltage is correct so it doesn't overheat. So I would think it might end up being the same current, but a higher voltage. From what I read is that if you have a higher voltage, the dynamic behavior is such that the stepper motor ramps up quicker, and somehow it also dissipates less heat. So anyway, so all right, now everybody can talk again. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Hank. I just wanted to. I just didn't. I'm not good with electronics. I had to ask.
Yeah, sure.
I can help you out. And at the next outing, I'll bring a couple of wires in and say, "Here, Tim, hold these 2 wires."
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll just try it, see what happens. I think it's coming in on December 1st, so it's not too big a deal, and I'll let you know what happens.
Have you used your 12-inch, the big reflector that much, Heath? Have you got that thing out?
I'm ready to start using it again, but the weather has not been cooperative, and yeah, so yeah, that's what I want to do. But now I want to wait until I have this, the 24 volt. I really want to try that, see if I can tell any difference. But so far it has been working quite well with the timing belts added, actually. So that is a good thing. And yeah, if I wanted to get to higher precision, I might need to use encoders, but that's not so easy. OnStep doesn't have encoder support, and if I wanted to build my own, if you have like a lot of ticks, then you may have to have a little computer there that has 10,000 interrupts per second or something. You can't. It's not something that you can easily plug in. I think you need to have a separate control system for that. Anyway, that's in the future.
Hey guys, I'm gonna check out. Happy Thanksgiving, okay?
Yeah, I better
You
go
too.
too.
Likewise.
Well, it's already 9 o'clock. Time's up anyway.
That's true. Well, thanks everyone for joining us this evening, and next week we'll try it again.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Have a good Thanksgiving for everyone.
Yes.
You
Bye.
too.
Good Thanksgiving.
All right.